Are the ones that can make it better.
And my products are proudly made in Nigeria.
Made in Niger, showing every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. and repeats on Saturday at 8:30 a.m.
Hello and welcome to what I say in #ways where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayome Saleh, and today I have the lovely princesses in the building.
We always see you like this.
May you always see me like this.
I'm
right?
still recovering from the shock of something I just saw just a few minutes ago.
What was that?
But I won't say.
Because we're on TV, right? But you guys are looking gorgeous tonight.
you.
I mean, that's why I'm happy. I just like being around gorgeous women.
Yeah, I think that's the vibe. You're catching on.
Oh my gosh.
How you doing?
I'm hot like that. You guys are looking amazing.
Thank
Lola,
you
how was
very
your
much.
day?
You are looking radiant in your
Thank
outfit.
you to Milola
Thanks to
Casual.
Milola.
See me?
Milola.
Milola. Online.
Online.
How was your day?
Very well, tiring, busy, market woman.
You are one busy woman though.
I know. I think sometimes I want to share the responsibility, but what I do...
You can't
Struggle.
someone, I guess. No, my fan. How you doing?
I'm good like that. I'm just good like that. Kids are around and about. Holiday, midterm break.
Yeah.
So juggling that with doing all that you have to do both online and remotely can be challenging. But then again, it comes with the territory.
Absolutely. Then we have Uti Elu via Zoom. Hello, Uti.
Hi, Uti.
Hi, ladies.
Hi.
I'm so thankful that I'm not in the studio today because I feel like I'm looking like yours house girl.
How dare anyone think that
thank
way?
God.
The gorgeous self of yours.
Thank God, thank God.
Uti, trust me,
y'all
me,
are
I'm
looking amazing.
intimidated, but I refuse to be intimidated. I refuse to be under
I'm
pressure.
like, I was looking at Norma, and then when Milola came on set, I was like, thank you, Jesus. Yay.
You guys are being naughty. You're being really
Oh my
naughty
God,
right
but
now.
that's interesting. But I mean, it's a beautiful thing to actually, be in the presence of beautiful and intelligent women.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's how
It's an honor
indeed.
It's an honor.
Being in your midst.
We're not going to complain.
Okay, well, it's our ladies' night out, and here's what we found as today's quote: "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader." This is from John Quincy Adams. Now, leaders instill in their people a hope for success and a belief in themselves. Positive leaders empower people to accomplish their goals. The very essence of leadership is that you have to have a vision. You can't blow an uncertain trumpet. And a good objective of leadership is to help those who are doing poorly to do well, and to help those who are doing well to do even better. So it's our ladies' night out, and Norma, Uti, Milola, and I are asking, who will be your, who are you looking forward to voting as president for 2023? Because we found an interesting picture, of all the candidates, the potential candidates that have been lined up, right? So we want to ask you, based on some of the qualities I have mentioned about leadership, so who is your ideal candidate for 2023 presidency? And when we open our phone lines, we'd really love to hear what you have to say. But first, we'll take a break to see what we found in the news. You're still watching where it's now worldwide Howl at the Moon Night is on October 26th. It is not just about having your fill of unwavering goose flesh, and it is also associated with animal welfare, specifically that of the wolf and the non-domesticated defender of the wild. It creates awareness about groups that work with wolf conservation, but it also about people, groups of people howling at the moon, with cities in the US creating fun events where people belt it out to the full moon. Oh, that's how you howl.
Noted.
I was reading this one, taking no day. You know, people are associating it with Halloween, but it's not so much about Halloween. But you know, it just reminded me of all those vampire and werewolf movies.
That's it.
My sister used to love werewolf and vampire movies.
I love
How
it.
do you love blood?
I love it. I love vampire movies.
I used to. I think I've
What
moved on.
changed? You evolved.
I've grown.
I still love vampire movies. Trust me.
You know why you like vampire movies?
Why?
Because they are ageless. You know, they are flawless. They have flawless skin.
That's why.
I think
Because
that's
they're
why
immortal.
It
Yeah.
started breeding some ideologies that were not real, and I had to come to terms
But
with
what if
reality.
there's any possibility that what you see is actually the reality and what you think is reality is actually an illusion?
That's a conversation for another day.
I agree.
Okay, so who are we starting with?
Okay.
Let me start with Uti. Uti, are you going to be howling tonight?
Absolutely not. Like, I mean, that there's really something out there for everyone. That's the way I'll put it, because I'm like, the worldwide howl. So somebody's going to go outside and
As
go,
in,
That's how you howl.
what if you turn into a werewolf or something
Nah,
in the
so-
process? Just kidding.
well, let's wait and see. You know, this is Nigeria. Anything can happen.
Anything is possible. All right, so what did you find
Anything
for
is
us in the news, Uti?
So my headline says, Sanwo-Olu commends Edo Best, urges state to embrace digital teaching. So I think this stood out to me because we spoke to Uki last week. So yeah, or Yuki, I should get that right.
Yeah,
so
Uki.
it's a good story for us just because it speaks to Lagos State government, or the governor of Lagos State, urging other states in the country to embrace digital teaching. So I found out an interesting statistic on Friday that so in all our universities combined, there are only about 2 million students. So that's just 1% of the population. So when we think about it, even when we talk about all the other lapses and just the inadequacy of the education sector, so the fact that technology can help us to close that gap. So the Edo Best in Edo State basically is a program that the government is running there to leverage digital technology to be able to train children. And then Lagos State launched their version, which is Eco Excel, in January 2020. So this is just Governor Sanwo-Olu calling on other states to embrace this digital technology to try and improve what is happening in the education sector.
Fantastic. Good news for them. All right, so I'll come to you, Milola.
What I have in the news is as regards election, and it's in reaction to what broke in social media about the Anambra polls. INEC denies mass resignation of ad hoc officials, and this is from the Independent National Electoral Commission, says it has adequate manpower for the conduct of November 6th governorship election in Anambra. INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in Anambra State, Onwachukwu Orji, disclosed this in an interview with the News Agency of Nigeria on Tuesday in Akwa. Orji, who was reacting to viral media reports that hundreds of ad hoc workers recruited for the election resigned en masse, said there was no truth in the publication. He actually said INEC is still in the process of recruiting the ad hoc workers. In fact, we just concluded the last training before this false report. So he's coming out to debunk the fact that they have it under lock and key, and there is no worries around the fact that some ad hoc members have resigned, that they are fully ready and fully prepared to conduct the election come January next year.
Okay. We will be waiting to see what happens.
Absolutely.
How about you?
I think Anambra State is taking the lead this evening because my story is a continuation of Milola's story, and this time it has to do with security in Anambra State. So the Inspector General of Police, Baba Usman, ahead of the elections that are to take place on November 6th this year, was talking about a major overhaul of the security architecture in the state. So he's consequently dispatched the Deputy General. What caught my attention was actually the headline that said IGP deploys DIG, 5 AIGs and 14 Commissioner of Police with regards these elections. So he has decided to dispatch Deputy Inspector Generals of Police, Force, Criminal Investigations and Intelligence Department. Joseph Ebunike is the coordinator of election security in the state, and he is assisted by seasoned strategic commanders from the rank of Assistant Commissioner of Police and above for effective supervision and security personnel of operations during the elections. So the commanders include 5 Assistant Inspector Generals of Police, 14 Commissioners of Police, 31 Deputy Commissioners of Police, and 48 ACPs for this particular election.
Just one election.
Just one election.
So if we are doing nationwide election, what then happens?
Would they have enough manpower to go around to monitor and ensure
That was
proper
what caught my
security?
attention, because this is elections and we're
No, but
deploying.
you know there's been a lot of security challenges in Anambra
I'm aware.
State. That was where the late Dora Queenly's husband
was murdered, yes.
So there have been so many
Absolutely,
issues.
and I
again,
agree.
Don't forget that IPOB is threatening that Nnamdi Kanu, if he's not released, that state will not, the elections will not hold.
So while I agree on that, I was wondering if we had to wait for an elections to realize that there is a security breach in the state, to have started something or started doing something before now. Why is it now during the? It's a very serious event that is coming up. But apart from the event, if that event wasn't taking place, the lives and properties of the indigenes of Anambra State, is it not as important to secure? That's my question.
Uti, I can see you smiling.
No. we're speaking from utopia. When there's election, all roads lead to Anambra. That's where we are now. So you are just reading the police delegation. You've not read the party delegation. How many governors? Because this one you're reading now, this is the general police. You've not talked about the ones that will come with the governors, the DSS,
the delegates.
So, do you get what I mean? So this is how we do things in Nigeria.
It is where?
The question about the security situation in Anambra, don't worry, the answer is on the way, Noma.
So sticking to security, let me just quickly take my story, because I found it very interesting. It says insecurity in Plateau exaggerated, says Lalong. So he says, that's the governor, Simon Lalong of Plateau State, has said that the security challenges facing the state was exaggerated. He said Plateau State remained a very suitable business and investment hub because the government had vigorously addressed some of the major security challenges in the state by tackling their root causes. Lalong spoke at a panel discussion that's securing our future and urgency for now, which held at the Transcorp Hilton in Abuja. And this was a statement by his Director of Press and Public Affairs, that's Macham Katuk. He said this. So I am just wondering, when I saw this post, I said, okay, what are the parameters? I know a lot of people that lived in Jos.
I lived in Jos.
My brother-in-law, they had to sell their property in Jos and relocated. My sister, our firstborn in my family, lived in Jos for years.
And had to leave.
She had to leave because, my brother, his wife had to relocate. So I know so many people that have left Jos because
of the insecurity
Jos used to have
situation.
I mean, Jos has one of the best weathers ever.
It's a
You know, in
beautiful
Nigeria.
place.
It's
It
a
was
beautiful,
home.
peaceful place. All of a sudden, a lot of things have, you know, changed and all of that. So when you say that a lot of these insecurity issues have been addressed from the root, please give us facts, figures, and back it up with a lot of data. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
When we come back from the break, 2023 is our conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Now, the true mark of a leader is the willingness to stick with a bold course of action, an unconventional business strategy, a unique product developmental roadmap, a controversial marketing plan, even as the rest of the world wonders why you're not matching in step with the status quo. In other words, real leaders are happy to zig while others zag. They understand that in an era of hyper competition and non-stop disruption, the only way to stand out from the crowd is to stand for something special. This is an excerpt that we found from an article, Do You Pass the Leadership Test by Bill Taylor. Now, having said what I have read out, you know, and keeping that in mind as a benchmark for leadership, right? Presidency 2023. Who amongst these candidates that I'm going to pull out, I mean, if they can show the pictures of these people, because we found this picture very interesting. So who among these candidates would you be rooting for in 2023? So there's Bola Tinubu, there's Emil Shibanjo, there's Yaya Bello, Rochas Okorocha, Rotimi Amechi, there's Governor
Goodwill Akpabio,
there's Atiku, there's Tambuwal. 803-84663. So this 2023 election matter, I want to start with the people that are running away from the topic. So let me come to Uti Elu first.
Okay, good.
Number one.
Good strategy. Because I thought you were coming to me.
Number one runner with
Uti is a line.
Uti just left the WhatsApp.
You want to name the chat?
You know me, I stay away from this conversation.
I know.
What I would say is that this picture raises for me a larger problem. In organizations, at least serious organizations, there's a serious focus on succession planning, right? So there's that grooming of leaders, there's that focus on identifying leaders, identifying people who can take up the mantle, and they're being trained over a period of time. They're being groomed, exposed to the things they're supposed to be exposed to, so that they're ready for leadership when that time comes. Now, when you look at this list, these are all recurring names. There's no, I think with the exception for me, in full disclosure, I think with the exception of Bola Mohammed, right? I think I'm very familiar with all the other names on this list. And herein lies the problem, because we want different. But do we actually have different that can step up? So I won't give my opinion on, because in truth, I try to refrain from having one. But that for me is the larger problem, because when we keep saying we want change, when we're circulating amongst the same set of people, right, there's a problem. And that means that for us, we need to have a long-game strategy, right? We need to start to think, you know, we have this narrative where we always talk about the elites. Then the youth come and say they don't have opportunities. But we need to be able to start to look holistically at this game, because it is a game. It's like a chess game, right? And you're playing with master strategists. We need to start to understand that. We need to start to think, you know, not 2023 elections, maybe not even 2027. You know, we need to start thinking that far ahead. Because when you look at other countries that have these institutions, when you look at their presidents, you see how long they've been in the game.
Exactly.
You see how they've traveled along that trajectory. Very rarely do people just sort of appear and they want to become president, which is what we have, right? We have the old school, or the old guard, which is what we have on this poster, and the new guys who nobody knows, who might pop up every 4 years, or in the game of politics, in the game of governance, They haven't built up a profile for themselves. We don't know who they are. We don't know what they stand for. And then they come out at election time saying they're the new generation. Well, what do we know that you have to offer? So that's all I would say at this point. That's for me, the thing that stuck out to me when I saw this picture was not really an opinion on the people in the picture, but just a larger problem that we have that is evident.
I really love what you said when you even started the conversation, when you said that do we even have someone that is different that can actually step up, to the challenge, to the plate. That is for me the biggest worry that I have. So when I saw this picture, I just put my hand on my head and said, God help us. if this is the true reality of the candidates,
the qualified,
thank you, candidates, we won't really call it qualified, candidates that are available for this presidency seat in 2023, then God will help us in this country. So I like the idea of fresh. I like the idea of new. I like the idea of charting a course that nobody has walked through that path. So, the fact that we don't even see something like that in this picture that has been put out there that's going round to say, oh, these are the potential for 2023 is worrisome. But let me come back to the question for today. The ideal, you understand? If we look at the picture, and we are not even trying to criticize individuals and all of that. Look at them generally. Do you see an ideal president amidst these crop of faces that
has been posted?
They're here?
Well, now it becomes subjective. How do you define who's an ideal candidate? Is it their years in experience? Is it their pedigree? Is it their past record? It all goes down to the seat of the presidency, for one, is not something that a random person can acquire.
So can I help you define it so you can continue the conversation?
Okay.
What is ideal for me as a citizen, and I think I will be speaking for a lot of Nigerians. We already know the challenges that Nigeria faces today. Serious insecurity issues with what's called infrastructure, issues with economic issues that we have. We have issues with our institution, education, healthcare. The ideal candidate will be someone that has a clear vision as to how to move Nigeria from point A to where we want to go to in our dream world. So,
well, if that's the parameter around which we're defining an ideal candidate, you would see that a number of these people have once held offices, which goes to say that let's assume the fact that you've been part of something is proof that you have experience. So they've been in governance, they've run offices. How credible they were is what is contestable, right? But the fact is, based on what you mentioned, the terms of being identified as a qualified candidate, a good number of them, we're trying to analyze, right? Yes. We're not trying to pick holes in anybody's character. A good number of them, based on that list, have had experience in governance. If they're not qualified based on their past record is another thing that we're going to go through in debates. But based on that list, we can say a number of them have the credibility to run for that office.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so Norma, let me come to you.
Okay, so what came to mind when I saw this question, who is an ideal or who's your ideal president? A few things on leadership, qualities. So the picture, like I said, that comes to mind are a few things, a few qualities that I would see. And I don't know about the rest of Nigeria, but this is me expressing what I want to be able to see in a leader. I want to be able to see a leader that is empathetic towards the people that they're leading. I want to see a leader who is able to lead by example. It's not a do what I say, but do what I do. So you are taking the lead in showing the people direction that you are taking. Sometimes may not even be the popular opinion, but if you are visionary, you are able to show them where you are going with what you're doing. And they can see progress, they can see development with what you are doing, right? I see integrity. That means your word is your bond. You are able to hold yourself accountable, and the people that you're leading have the voice to hold you accountable to the things that you have promised or that you have given your word that you can deliver upon. I also see a leader who, as a person who, when he knows that he's falling short of the responsibilities that he has showcased himself to be able to deliver upon, when he sees that he's not able, he has the ability to express that he is not able.
Ability to own up.
He is able to own up to mistakes, and he's even able to take what necessary actions that require to show him as a person of
That
integrity.
he's vulnerable as well.
Absolutely. I see a leader as someone who is humble, who is able to receive feedback from the opinion of people who seemingly matter to him. And I'm not just talking about his advisors or the people that surround him, but also the people that he's leading. His followers are able to give feedback on your progress, and you're able to take this feedback and do something about it, right? I see emotional intelligence playing in the scheme of things. Sometimes there are things that people would say that you would not be happy about, but you are able to empathize. You are able to motivate. You are able to inspire, like the quotes that we started off with said. So these are some of the qualities that I want to be able to see in the person who says he or she is my leader, by way of presidency, by way of governorship, whatever it is. Now, if I'm expecting to see these things, I like we have established, it's not a case of pointing fingers now, but these are things that we want to be able to say come 2023, when people are going to cast their votes. People should be able to see a picture of where in the next few years that you are going to hold office, that the trajectory, where you are taking us to. Is it possible for me to see myself as a citizen of this country in that picture?
Thank you, no, my father. I was going to add to your list an entrepreneurial mindset.
Encourage.
A leader that sees Nigeria as a business that must be profitable. Do you understand? Not just seeing Nigeria as where I can just go and just do whatever it is I like. The business of the country has to be profitable. That is also
see the country as a business in itself.
You must have that entrepreneurial mindset, but that's the ideal. But you know what? We're going to take a break because we want to open our phone lines early enough today to hear what you have to say. Who is your ideal leader? And looking at this list, please, well, I will tell you when I come back from break. Don't insult anybody. We're not here to insult anybody. But we'll be right back. Stay with us. All right, if you just tuned in, it's our ladies' night out, and we are asking, who is your ideal candidate, presidential candidate for 2023? Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. Our phone line is also now open. Please, you do not insult anybody when you're calling. When you call, turn off the volume of your television set so we can hear you clearly. We can hear ourselves. And the number to call is 070-2500-7749. 070-2500-7749. So I would like for them to put back that picture. So in case you just tuned in and you've not seen the picture of who we're referring to, you know, look at that picture again. Look at it very well. Muse on it. and let us see, does this look like, does anyone here look like the president that you're looking forward to seeing?
2023.
Being sworn in as the president come 2023. Look at the picture very clearly. Okay, so let me, okay. Peter will not even let us drink water. Peter, welcome. Butter, Peter.
Good evening.
Hi.
Good evening.
Thank you for calling. Let's hear what you have to say.
Difficult question, but it is very simple for me to answer. The beautiful one has not yet been born in this country.
Okay.
With the system that we have from 1999, maybe after 1966 cool down to 1999, the only person that would have advocated for will have been MKO, but it's late. So let me leave the past.
Okay.
From that list, if I want to take anybody on a scale of 10, which is 3 over 10, I will take the vice president of Peter Obi. But I got so disappointed with the Pandora Papers of Peter Obi because you cannot claim you love your country and you pay your tax somewhere else. But no man is a saint when it comes to issues like that. But he has the capacity and the competence to pick anybody from the list. Then the vice presidents have shown leadership anytime he has been given a mantle of leadership to rule this country. But the truth of the matter is that what we have on ground now, we have a very strong cabal of leaders that are selfish, that has hijacked the system, that will still win the 2023 election. I don't want to call names, but I'm a student of research. I'm a student of data. There are some things you put on ground. You know the projection of what will happen in the next 18 months or in the next 24 months. The people that will rule this country for the next 16 or 24 years is still within the same age cabal, and with the kind of constitution, and with the way we have a problem with leadership and followership. It's a two-way thing. I love the way Norma was describing very well the kind of leader that we want, but he is a mirage. We don't have that kind of person in Nigeria. We must evolve. For us to evolve, we must do the right thing, and we must begin to know why we are citizens of this country, to pick the kind of leaders that will rule this country. We don't have anybody that will move us to the Eldorado that we feel that can move this country forward. Let's just still remain where we are.
Oh, wow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wow, Peter. Thank you.
Very apt.
Can I respond to Peter's comments? I must appreciate Peter for bringing that reality. As much as this is my ideal understanding of who I want to lead me, I know that we have a problem on ground. And it still remains a mirage because we have not deliberately and intentionally started sowing the kind of seeds that will reap the kind of leadership that we're looking to. And as long as we continue to depend on the crop of potential leaders that we have now, we are not going to arrive there. It's a problem. It's a problem if we continue to what's the word again? If we continue to reshuffle amongst the people that we have.
There's another phone call.
Peter scored 3 over 10, our vice president. Hi. Are you there? Thank you for calling. From Abia. Are you there? You're live.
Yeah. Good evening, my sister.
Thank you for calling. Good evening.
This is long.
Thank you.
I've got a picture of the people. Now, though there will be no answer, I am not the type. But I would have loved the vice president, the current vice president. But I have seen him as somebody that is speak when it is time to take a firm decision. Now you go to, what do we call him? Akpab, you made a little mistake. Now they gave him the minister for NDDC and so. Now, talking to the man who I think will be my idol president, based on the analysis one of our sisters here just roll out, which made me, I just got out somebody who, if you give her a class to teach, she will teach very well. You see good luck, Jonathan. You see that man? It is one of the people that if you give him the leadership of this country, one, he can honor when he makes mistake. He can honor. And remember, he said, the blood of Nigeria.
Nigerian blood is what,
I don't know the way you put it. You know what he said about people losing their blood in the election.
True.
No leader has ever done that. No president has ever made that choice. But he said he doesn't want anybody to lose his life. So these are the type of people we want.
Thank you.
Not people they have given them opportunity in the PPE where we don't make it up.
Thank you, Lawman.
Don't hoping for themselves. We don't need such leaders in this country.
Thank you, Lawman. Sorry, we had to cut you. I couldn't make clearly, but I hear him clearly when he was talking about, what the former president, Jonathan, had said, that no Nigerian blood was worth, this spilling. I mean, the seat of power wasn't worth spilling any Nigerian's blood. But you see, can we not just pack all these people aside? Is it a possibility? Because, I mean, what Peter had said, if you look at statistics, trust me, there's every likelihood that the president will come out from this list. Do you understand? Because if you look at the trajectory
there's
of Nigeria,
every possibility.
There's every possibility. It doesn't seem like somebody outside of this list that we're seeing
can emerge
as president. But I've not heard Uti in a minute, and I'll come back to you, Mulola. Uti, let me hear your thoughts.
Well, I mean, Peter said it all. Like I said, whether it's 2027 or however long it is, if you don't have a plan, so maybe I guess when you said nature abhors a vacuum, right? If they all die, maybe we will now see who the next the next level is. But the reality of it is still, we're all still saying the same thing. We don't have any people who have put themselves forward consistently. The only person I can think of who maybe, in my personal knowledge, maybe I've heard multiple times, is maybe Kingsley Morgan, who is not on this list, right? But the reality of it is we don't have people who are consistent. I remember I used to say with Jimmy Agbaje, I said he pops up every 4 years. Please, what is he doing in between?
That one is the most annoying thing ever. You know what? Let Uti hold that thought. It's the most annoying thing ever. Oh, okay. I thought we lost the caller. Go ahead. Like, how do you do that? You come out every 4 years and you want to be governor. It's really ridiculous.
In between, nobody sort of knows what you're doing. And that's the same challenge that we have. Now, some school of thought will argue that these people that we have in this list, that the politics and governance of today doesn't make room for you to hear about other people. But it's like oil and water, right? It doesn't mix, and it will always rise to the top. So the reality of it for me is, who are those people today that we can even say in their own way are doing something that is, memorable or commendable, that we can even say, okay, this person might be doing something. That's why we don't have anybody on the list. It's still these same names that are bandied around. Maybe if you expand it now, there might be a few other names from Senate, but it's still the same set of people, which means that the next generation is still not doing their job. We're still not getting into that place where we're taking those seats, where when we were on the show the other day, we talked about how the different seats or levels of government, and how we're not concerned about a councillor, we're not concerned about the local government chairman. Everybody's focused on the presidency and the governor. So if you're ever talking about getting into the race, people need to get started. That's why we don't have any answers, because the truth is there's nobody you can identify. There's nobody you can hold right now. It's like when, what's that movie, when the entire royal family died, and then they went and found one lone, distant relative. Maybe if that happens now, you see that, okay, somebody can rise up. But currently, we don't have anything. We just, this same set of people. But the question I wanted to ask, when we're talking about ideal president, we've talked about zoning, we've talked about federal character. Please, which tribe? Let me just take the table.
Auntie, don't bring that table.
You want to open a can of worms right now. Uti.
Like, really,
should be allowed.
Should that even be a conversation?
Should that be a criteria for selecting an ideal presidential candidate?
Because now it's all about
this
tribe.
is still Nigeria.
It's Nigeria that we are.
in the last 8 years seen I can't even call it a widening gap. It's now a chasm between the different tribes. And we ethnic groups today, we at one point could live in harmony. That's a distant harmony. That's a distant memory now. I don't think that like for that to be capable, we'll be talking Nelson Mandela proportions. We'll be talking that kind of leader that can come and unite us again.
Exactly.
Because that's how much division we have managed to sow in our midst or allow to flourish in our midst in the last 8 years. So
Understand that we gave our power away. A lot of the time we assume that there's little or nothing we can do. The challenge is how many people are willing to put themselves out there. I've been nursing the desire to run for office, but every now and again I still look at the quality of deaths and a lot of things going on in politics, and I would think, Damilola, are you sure you want to do this? And this is where a lot of people struggle to really put themselves out there. I have to check with myself, why do you want to do it? If I cannot answer, it's not about somebody asking me and I'm giving a defensive response. Why do you want to do it? If you do not do it, what's at stake? Because we need to be able to narrow it down and ask critical questions and answer genuinely to ourselves. Why do you want to run for office? Why you? Why not someone else? We need to start from that mindset where we can volunteer ourselves a victim. Because there's a lot you have to deal with. People do not want to get their names smeared. They don't want their debts to be dogged. They don't want their past to be brought forth. They don't want anybody invading into their privacy. And there's a lot of things people are contending with personally. They do not want to be reminded of who they were in the past. And because of that, they just take their hands off the wheel and say, you know what, let them run it however way they want to run it. The seat for presidency is not something you can just wake up one morning and say, I want to vie for the seat of it. Doesn't make sense. You need years, you need experience, you need a lot of understanding the game. You have to be a master on that chessboard for you to even know what move to make next. And it's not something that a random person, just like you were talking about Jimmy Agbaje, surfaces every 4 years and vies for office, thinking that once he's done, then he packs it up and keep it in the bag and until the next 4 years. And that's literally what a lot of people do. They do not build social capital. They do not build the skin. Because let me tell you one thing about we human beings that a lot of us don't know. We evolve to a point where we cease to be who we used to be. You can totally change, wear the same body, wear the same look, wear the same thing, but you're a totally different person. And people cannot relate to the fact that you're not who you used to be. The level of growth that is required to be able to be fit, many of us have not been groomed. It takes a lot of grooming, and that's why the current leaders, if you really want to be critical, let's remove our sentiment and our expectation. These are reality.
Let me
so who do we find amongst them that we have to choose? That's our reality. See, we groom at next level of leaders.
Problem not finish.
Nigeria is a very...
Kayode, are you there? You're live.
Hello.
Hi, Kayode. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, wonderful conversation you are having there.
Thank you.
I really appreciate the analysis and the way you guys are dissecting the whole thing. Nigerian politics is not a child's play, so to say. You need to know your onions, so to say. For the young days to realize that the Nigerian election is expensive and it is a tug of war, so to say. Honestly speaking, I've witnessed a lot of elections in Nigeria from the north down to the south. You see the language they interplay when it comes to election. I don't want to call it dirty, but you need to get your hands rough. You need to know how well you can canvass and trade and negotiate before you can allow to die there. I now wonder which of the youths has that ability to die with those power brokers. So, however, we can start from somewhere. It is not a bad situation to say, right? We can negotiate our way through enhancing our strength, using our own way.
So, Kayode, I was going to just quickly ask you, before you
run, social media is there, we can network, start from the local government, start from even forming a social group, go to schools, give, donate to schools and some other things. It's a way of creating a pressure group, and the pressure group, if you sustain that strength, can subdue those power brokers. You understand it? And make the public understand that there is a new breed of leaders that are not really power drunk to get to the top before they start implementing or making the necessary change. They can start making the necessary change even from their own little way.
Okay, so Kayode.
So thank you guys
for
the work you are doing there. I really appreciate them. Just step aside for that.
All right, thank you, Kayode.
So much for
I can't. I don't think he was hearing me. I wanted to ask him that, does he believe that the picture that we have put out up there is the reality of what the 2023 presidential race will look like? Do you ladies believe? Why is it
elections?
Sorry, Norma, to cut you. Why is it that every time with presidency or elections, it's always picking between the devil and the deep blue sea? Why? Because I remember you talking just now. You say we have to find someone that we can manage from there. Why do we have to keep doing that in Nigeria?
Because you have to grow up. You can't jump up. When you jump up, you come down. When you grow up, you stay up. It takes years. It takes growth. It takes effort. You hear what that man said. It takes a lot of funding. It takes a lot of grit. It takes a lot of experience to be able to sit in the not the White House, in Aso Rock. Yes, and that's the reality of our time. For anyone. Look at those people. They have been building. They've started from the younger cadre. There's hierarchy of beings. You have to understand and accept that first. Whether you realize it or not, you cannot just get up one day and say, I want to run for president because I am qualified. I have every quality that Norma has stated out, and then I have the desire. Even with money, it doesn't work like that. People need to see your track record. You need to build a resume for you to be considered by the party in the first place.
Let me take Oiz. I think it should be our final call. Then you have some messages. Oiz, are you there? Thank you for calling. Good evening. Thank you for calling. Let's hear what you have to say.
Yeah, good evening. Interesting topic. Would you raise the fundamental issue about zoning? From nowhere, PDP had an arrangement that it should be between South and North prior to 1999. Because of what has happened in 1993. Obasanjo did 8 years. But for my permutations and what most likely will happen from this list that you have shown, if the powers that be decide it will go to the north, it will not go beyond a Tamboa or an Atiku. If they say, okay, let's give it to the south, it will not go beyond an action charges. But the man is a benevolent dictator in the Lagos politics. For a man that fought Obasanjo, I'm not holding brief for him, but the realities of the question you asked, if it goes to the north, I've given you 2 names. If it goes to the south, I've given you 2. But does any of them have the capacity to take Nigeria to the next level? I don't know, because we all had expectations from 2015. Until 2023 comes, maybe the first 6 months or the first 100 days, we'll know that they can move Nigeria to the next level.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That was a very meaningful contribution.
Oh, problem, not the finish.
That's
my conversation tonight. Uti, let's get your comments.
So I have a comment from Ade, and it says, good evening, ladies. None of the listed candidates is qualified to contest for 2023 Nigerian presidential election. These people have been in government before, now, and never plan to retire, but only interested in the national cake. They are birds of the same feather, flocking together, a cabal. We need a God-fearing, young, and energetic person. I think now is the time for them to go before Amadio to swear an oath If they fail to do it right, Amadioha will judge them. It's now time for women to be given a chance for the presidential election. UK, Liberia had females as president and prime minister, and they did well.
Absolutely. Milola is running for presidency just in case.
Are you kidding me?
No, my fire.
All right.
We'll vote for you, don't worry.
I have this one from Bissy, and she says, "Good evening, ladies. My ideal president is that person that will show empathy to the citizens, responsible, respects all, and has integrity. The person must also lead by example, should be detribalized, and I want to see a focused woman among the contestants.
Good point.
Not just to add to the numbers, not just to, and a serious contender." Thank you.
She really spoke your mind.
Absolutely.
Who will be the serious contender? We have like 1 minute each, ladies. Quickly. Who is going first?
Contending for what?
You know, you say a serious female contender. The thing is,
I'm going to volunteer.
You're not serious. Milola, you're not ready. Don't worry.
Like,
no, you're not ready now.
For 2020.
Yeah, you're not ready. So that's the problem. I don't like the idea of because a woman has to be there, you just throw out any woman.
Exactly,
Because
I agree
who are
with
the
Bissy.
women that are ready? You know, should we start looking for somebody like Kanibuka, Woshika, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the people that we know that they are ready and they can actually build.
Record.
Thank you, that credibility is there. You know, so do we have those?
We do.
Uti, why are you smiling?
You said Ngozi Okonjo, I said she's going to leave the WTO to come and be
She's
president.
not going to leave it. I don't think so.
Absolutely.
Obviously, Ezekwesili came out at some point. I think grooming, and I believe that we've mentioned that a couple of times, but I think this has brought even more to the fore that it's important for us to begin to prepare people.
That's it.
We need a succession plan. We cannot continue to recycle the same group of, I mean, they have done their time.
So let them rest.
But they too also need to think about succession plans. If I am not here today, who can I groom to take up the lead in the near future?
They know they're not going to be here
And
forever.
it's not just born out of selfish and self-centered motivation. It has to come from a place beyond yourself.
Absolutely.
And to the people.
Norma, you're so ideal in the conversation. Let me give you the final word.
Like literally, every time I listen to Norma, I feel like I'm listening to like a professor. She's so ideal, right? But I mean, we've seen the reality of what Norma is saying, whether you agree or you like it or not. We've seen it to an extent in Lagos State. To be fair, I agree with Ohis in that point, that the track record speaks for itself. And I think that Bola Tinubu has done that in at least being able to groom people to carry that succession along. Whether you agree or not, we can see the results in Lagos State. So
Absolutely.
There is something to be said for that. And whether other states can actually say, and I think that for me is where I will leave it. I think he's a classic example of when we talk about ideal presidents in Nigeria, we must talk about who that person must be. That person must be fearless. That person must be a little bit crazy. Because to actually rule Nigerians,
you need a crazy man to rule a woman.
You need a Baba, you need an Obasanjo type person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'll leave it there. But that for me is the
Ideal.
sprinkling. That's the secret sauce.
Absolutely, we ran out of time. Thank you, Mr. Norma Uti. We had a fantastic conversation. So before we go do a show, you follow us on Instagram at Way Show Africa. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, we're planning a giveaway today. Thank you to you for believing in the Ways brand. So do well to follow us now. It's at Way Show Africa. Like, share, comment, and invite your friends and family to watch the show. If you missed today's quote, here it is again. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. We'll leave it there. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
Ciao.